Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? Christos, Timer, Tickles, Plastic Starfish, Zen, Petro, Khan, what's up, man? All right. AMC up 15, 16% from the drop. From the drop. Okay, so spots indicator, guys. We have a blue spot. I've updated the indicator here. Blue spot. Current high from the blue spot is 13% from the blue spot. From the bottom here opening, we're up about 20%. Okay, so blue spot, that's a good sign. Okay, we haven't had a blue spot since the pink spot here, the 21st, fell down from 35 to 10. And then before that, following this rally, we had $80 down to 10. So that's a pretty steep drop. But now we're getting that relief rally. We're starting to, come back up. And I'm here to look at the charts with you, man. Go over the cycle as well, because there's a few things to talk about. Man, I love the way the cycle looks now. It just looks so, I don't know, it just looks prettier, man. Adjusted to the chart. Where have I been, man? I've been around, man. I've been posting videos, but mostly going live more than anything. I go live a lot on the Discord as well, every single day. But yeah, no. Following what happened with AMC, it's really just a waiting game, guys. Waiting for the price to dump here, and then getting ready for it to come back up and start climbing back up, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So in the cycle, we came down here on the peak, so the 13-day window was inverse completely. This was an inverse squeeze, and we're getting closer now to the middle of the cycle here, expecting a reversal back up going into October time. So we're starting to see the cannabis sector go up as well. There's correlation with AMC and the cannabis sector going up together. Is this rally going to continue going in the next few days? Yeah, it's possible. But it's also possible that, we trade sideways up until the next point of interest and then start climbing up. But I'm going to talk about both sides here of both possibilities. But intraday, man, we're gonna look at patterns and take reference patterns, look at those and see what we can expect in the next few days. I'm gonna talk about some of the macro patterns that we're tracking first. So there's a few. So we got Lucid being the first one. And these are 1-to-1, guys. With the Lucid pattern we talked about, the spring happened a month after the drop. So the drop, it's the same. It's a month after. Things go up July 21st, and then we basically bottom here around the 28th. Okay, and now we're starting to climb back up. So about a month's time, the price starts climbing back up, and then you really see the price pick up and go sometime in September. Now, because Lucid didn't drop, Lucid did not drop the same way. I think it only dropped 50%. Here, AMC dropped way more than that. So if the price does start to climb around September time, I wouldn't expect it to go all the way up to 60, even though it can. But I would expect it more to trade along and below the $30 range until we set up to start climbing up in October time, because that's when I'm expecting the volume to kick in. And everything here we have to check everything off, right? Like if AMC is going to squeeze and have the potential to squeeze, it has to check things off. You guys have to remember that the option chain basically got wiped again, and that's very important to this whole cycle thing. The option chain resets, you get 0 open interest for basically all contracts, because now everything that is outside of the money is basically worthless for the non-standard contracts that were previously full of, like crazy open interest on these contracts. So it's gonna affect the option chain. It's gonna affect liquidity, and now market makers have the ability to, pump the stock where it's in their favor. It's in their favor this time, like it was back in August. So they did it again. They did that ugly, just way to wipe the option chain, man. It's just an ugly thing. Okay, we're also bouncing off of the parallel channel here around the $10 range, bouncing. And last time we talked about this third bounce, it took about a month. So that's still checking off. It still looks pretty good to me. And then here the high would be around $100. So that is 10x, man. That is a large push. But again, AMC has done this already. It's done it multiple times. $1,000%. And then here, 700, 1,000%. So it's nothing new. All-time low. Look at that, man. We crossed 73, sitting at almost 80%, negative 80% down on the changes indicator. Levels we have never seen before, ever, on the entire AMC chart. RSI is not going to show you this. Then again, here on spots, let's go on the weekly chart. Now, I was going to make and I'm probably going to do it on this video, but man, see, look, the weekly chart also shows the same thing. It shows that we are at a bottom. Guys, when the price gets down here, historically speaking, how many times has it bounced around this level? Okay, one here, very close in both January and June time. In June time, it was already way above the threshold here. Now we're below it. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this would be 6. You can even count these guys. Okay, they're around the same range that we saw in January of 2021. Okay, they're the same. So being at these levels, this is a weekly chart. At what point, like, can this really keep climbing back down? Are we going to stay below these levels for a while? Only if AMC has terrible fundamentals, but that's just not the case. Why I don't see, us going to the single digits and staying there. Like, if we go to the single digits, guys, the reverse split saved that like single digit dollar level, right? Psychological level at the dollar range. It did save it from that because AMC got shorted very quickly to the $1.90 level. And, post split, reverse split, price goes back up to 10. Shareholders unfortunately get diluted. The stock itself does not get diluted. We have now less shares in the market. So it's a shitty thing for shareholders. But from this point on, if there's a lower float in the market, you're going to see pretty much like natural price action now on the stock. Okay, it's not barcoding anymore. AMC is back. AMC's back with Ape. We got one stock trading, not two. That's a good thing. And yeah, volatility is now, like, some of the contracts today were up like 800%, almost 1,000%. That is what you're going to get when the stock does not barcode. Okay, like that's what you want to see. You don't want to see like barcoding, dude. Barcoding sucked. It sucked for a while. I mean, look at this, bro. Pre-split. Look at this barcoding price action here, pre-split. Just freaking barcoding. Okay, and then right after, price dumps, but then you start to see natural price action that you want to see, that we've seen before, that we're used to. This is what we saw before and after the June run up in 2021, and then ever since that Ape, ever since Ape happened, dude, like the price has just been barcoding. So that's a good thing. That is a good thing now that we are not barcoding. I think things are going to get pretty interesting. So what do I see happening here in the next few days? So right now the price is dumping a little bit. Why I'm not looking to do much with AMC right now. This happened very quickly as well, okay? Like this wasn't even a ride up and boom, right? This was riding and putting pressure on the shorts very quickly, and then now we have a liquidity stop right here. So it seems like the prices got rejected very quickly, and now we're starting to see lower levels here, but there's really not much resistance to track or support to track here. The only level I can see right now of support would be somewhere around that 1170 range, maybe around that 12 range as well. Coming here on the 5-minute chart, we do have a pink spot. Okay, so it's going to probably look something like this. And then at that point, well, anything can happen around here. But yeah, it is dumping. It is dumping quite a bit here. I think it's going to take some time, guys, to fully climb back up. This isn't going to happen in one day. It's going to take a few weeks to fully come back up. But I really do believe this is an opportunity to watch for, because if the price starts climbing here and it does it quickly, you're going to see a Carvana 2.0 at play. $390 down to 10. Let's take a look at Carvana. $374 all the way down to $3, and then from $3 all the way up to 56. And it never really stuck in the $10 range. This thing fell from, it seems here, it was riding down For a little bit, it was trading on that $15 range, but from there, it went straight to the 6 and then straight down again to 3. And then at 3, it bottomed and started climbing up. This is the daily chart. It bottomed at negative 86%. And then there it started to climb up. Let's see, AMC currently at negative 79. Here are both charts, man. Both charts. And the weekly chart. Look at this, guys. The weekly chart on Carvana and then the weekly chart on AMC. It's been riding in this negative 80 to about 60, going up to 60. It's just trading sideways here. It's like making a wedge. It's just making a wedge the entire time until it pops, dude. Look at that. Respecting levels of resistance and levels of support. Here, we just broke down, but again, this is an all-time low. So this is where we would expect the spring to happen. You got Tilray. Wait, what the hell? You guys could see that, right? So this is Tilray down here. Tilray already did something similar, and we're actually we're tracking this pattern here. We're tracking this entire pattern already. But you know, previously we had this part had basically already played out. Like this wasn't in, the spring was already in by the time we were tracking it, and the tracking that I currently have doesn't show, you know, this mess of us dumping the way that we did. So I'm looking at this section right here, and then, you know, following that we have, just play it back. Now I'm like trying to track all this here, trying to get all this in there. So March 19th, 2020. So this was a COVID correction. Everything starts climbing up. So this thing goes from $2 to 10, which is, yeah, that's quite a bit. Trade sideways, and then it doesn't climb up for like a year. See, I don't know about that. But what I do know is if we take this entire pattern from July 19th to, it's 3 years. July 19th, February 9th. So this is where Tilray is at right here. Okay, the reason why the charts don't look the same is because some have less data depending on the exchange that you're using. NYSE down here, and then some values are, because there's a lack of volume, are not going to be displayed properly. So that is, but I think I have this wrong. Oh, it's 2018. So I am wrong. Okay. Maybe that is not the case for this specific stock. There we go. Okay, there we go. So I guess they are good. This is what we previously were tracking, and this is why I said I didn't see any more downside either, is because, well, the two have a good correlation with each other. I mean, they're clearly both up today. Tilray and the cannabis sector is up with AMC, and you can see like this, like the levels even look similar here. Maybe not like the current levels here. If we take it from the bottom, like here, I'm like getting the projector. This is 1-to-1, guys, so this is not a fractal. This is a 1-to-1 pattern. This already happened with Tilray. You can see the price goes up, it comes down, it reaches the $9 level here. This is the bottom from the peak, right around that $9 level, or actually $10 level here. You could say that in this sequence, like this little section here is what's currently happening right now, and that the price starts climbing back up. But what this is telling us is, well, a few things. If we take it from the peak, if we try and line up when the price went up and when it started to climb back down, I think this would be a good placement for it. And regardless of what's happening here, again, this could be the little section we're tracking right now. If that was the case, price starts climbing back up, see how this lines up with the cycle, which is one of the things that we're still tracking, because this right here was just, I'm considering this just an error, a big error in the cycle that has not happened before. And I've said before already, this is 6 out of 5 for, or 6 out of 5. This being that one that just played outside the cycle. But following what just happened now, because it's inverse and the price is dumping, so inverse squeeze means that we're setting up for the next cycle here to happen sometime in October time. So that does mean trade sideways around this range before the price continues to climb. And I do like the setup. I mean, this is calling for a pretty nice move. To about, like 75 or 100 from the bottom here. I mean, it all has to check off here, guys. Like this, the only way that something like this would happen is if, we don't have some kind of, like, the price starts to rally and then, like, there's, like, an offering or some crap. Like, that's going to make the chances of something like this happening, like, slimmer. We want to avoid that following this. That just happened on AMC, right? I want to see any more dilution. I mean, like the lower float stock, it's easier for a lower float stock to squeeze than it is one that is highly diluted. AMC right now is not highly diluted, so the chances of it squeezing are higher. Man. All right, I'm going to do something with the parallel channel. I'm going to build this thing here, man. I was trying to build this here yesterday, but I didn't finish. So I'm going to do it now. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just taking and trying to analyze each cycle here, the year-long cycle, so we can try and find a pattern on the hedging. This worked very well for 3 years. Following COVID, we found that the price stuck in this parallel channel here every single year, so coming 1, 2, 3, before falling out. And this was clear hedging, guys. Very clear. Because at any given point, if you're hedging for leaps, again, the price can go all the way up or it can come all the way down. And if you get those strike prices back in this hedging parallel channel, then it doesn't matter. Anything that happens up here is just, it's better for them because they collect the premiums. Volatility is extremely high. They collect the premiums and then they close the price at extremely low levels. Keep your premiums, and then that's how they're hedging, man. They're collecting all your money for these high strike prices and bringing the price back down to a comfortable level, comfortable price. And you can see this just using, I mean, you can use a moving average EMA, whatever you want to do, and smooth that out. Do, I don't know, the 200-day or something. And that's going to show you that the price likes to stick around this range. It likes to stick around this little parallel channel. So I'm gonna like make another version of that because I believe that's a way to track where the price could potentially go next. But now we have a new trend line, and that is just a flat trend line here, which is at the current levels that we're trading, just the absolute low. That's one trend line, and you still have everything else the same way. Coming from the beginning of the year in 2020, you have to draw your volatility zone, which is right here. Okay, every single year, watch this. Hide this guy for a sec. Every single year, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 volatility zones and volatility. You have this trend line here that's climbing from 2020. You have a volatility zone right here and a volatility zone right here, stuck in and got rejected off of this trend line. Same thing goes for the downside. You're not going to see it on the chart as well, but anything down here would be basically like an inverse volatility zone. You're coming down to these levels. So let me take these off, bring back the parallel channel. October. It's right here. They don't have any contracts also for these strike prices yet. Once those come in, guys, that's going to tell us something, by the way. I think right now the max they have, and I think some should be coming in tomorrow because it's Thursday. So Thursday, I think 6 weeks ahead. It's every Thursday that you get contracts 6 weeks from that date. It's the way it works. So let me look to see what contracts we have open right now. So I'm going to be looking mainly, yeah. So for January 2024, the furthest contracts we have right now are 28. 28, I mean, that's nothing, dude. Compared to the scale chart, that's nothing. So, you know, as soon as we start to see these other strike prices come in, I think that's going to be a good thing. Because, like, I mean, market makers only put out these contracts if they anticipate volatility being a thing. For hedging, man, for hedging. So, yeah, if we start to see anything above that, 28 right now. Let's see, 2025, 27. Anything in the short term. Still 28. It's like 28 is their number. Yeah, I got all of them on here. 28, man. 28. Why 28? That's weird. Man, why 28 bucks? This is it. Looking back here, guys, look. We're at 11 bucks, and then it goes up to 28, and then it comes back down to 10. This did it a lot quicker. This was a lot quicker. Wouldn't that be something, dude? That would be crazy. Yeah, if AMC did this, dude, I mean... Yeah, so every chart shows something else. Like TD Ameritrade has 800. I think that is the true scale because you have to scale the entire chart, and they never really had like when Ape came into play, like they still were showing the 77. Like the chart like never got adjusted to it. So, which is weird. I don't know. I really don't understand why we had like different versions of AMC. But the yeah, like their chart actually shows all-time lows as well. Like this down here, I think is like 20 or something. Like the all-time low is 20, and then the current levels are 10. So you actually see this part of the chart is way below. It's like at all-time lows. So I don't know why we have this chart like is scaled the way it is. Like I think this one is incorrect. It's incorrectly scaled a little bit. Because yeah, I mean the split 1 for 10. Now the Ape coming back and the way they did, where it took a day, it was like it didn't all happen in one day. It took they were a day apart, so the split went in at play first, and then Ape came into and merged back with AMC. So I think that might have something to do why the chart is scaled the way it is. Because when Ape came back in, AMC's high was already at 400. So Yeah, and I don't know if these guys are going to even change it. That's the thing. I think Weeble also shows on the daily chart. Weeble shows the 4 or the 800, but I don't know. No, it doesn't. It does not. It shows 300. So Weeble's chart is the same as TradingView. And then, like, the craziest part is that on the 4-hour chart for Weeble, you still see AMC's $77 high, and then, like, when Ape happened, this thing goes up to 200 for some reason. It's the weirdest thing. It's 271, and then it falls all the way back down to $10. Yeah, man. I don't know. Every broker at this point just wants to show whatever they want. It's not. I mean, it's not. That's not fun. But at the end of the day, most of them are going to look in some way similar to this chart. I think if anything, there is a slight shift in where the price lies, where the price is. But the good thing, guys, is that the structure of the pattern doesn't really, like, when you're trying to track something, yes, the structure is a little bit different. But one of the things that we do here and we try and crack down is the structure of the pattern. So whether something looks like, we track certain patterns that look like that, or like arc formation patterns, like all of that stuff remains the same. It doesn't change that much. And you guys know what that, like, POIs and cycle volatility windows we track here. We're looking at patterns that show volatility to either side, and a lot of the times you're not going to have a 1-to-1 scaled chart like the one that we just saw right now with Tilray. So it's not really, at least for me, some of these trend lines are going to be slightly off, but I think tracking patterns and using patterns for reference won't change things that much in this type of analysis anyways. So, I mean, it is what it is, man, but this is, what I try and do, man, is crack down and beat them at their game, bro, because they are using that to I think, to manipulate the way this stock looks so that people are just confused. A couple of things. Yeah, let's go and track the Moderna projection. Here it is again, guys, using the pattern scanner for this. But this is what we got so far. And right now, the pattern is tracking very nicely here. We got the spring from 95 to 120. Saying that patterns don't repeat themselves, man. Like, this is a prime example of why the algorithm loves to repeat out like patterns. We've been tracking this since December of 2022, all the way down to these levels, and now we're expecting some upside here. So probably going to have some kind of COVID catalyst coming up in the next few weeks that would make the price go up, right? At whatever point, if things start tracking inverse, we're going to see that very clearly. The price would just start to dump. But I think at this point, mRNA looks pretty good to start climbing back up. And I would expect it to climb up sometime mid-September time based on this pattern. Also, like, I'm not planning on entering. This is not financial advice, all right? But I'm personally not planning right now at this instant on looking for any, like, options or anything like that with AMC. I think volatility is extremely high. That is just my view on that. Following this big pump, if anything, you know, when volatility is high, guys, you don't want to catch the you know, the thing on top when like contracts are already up 800%. Like going in on that, like if the price starts climbing back down like it is right now, that's just a massive hit. And knowing AMC and the way it does that, in this case, in this particular moment, yes, it is, and it does look like there's going to be a relief rally, but it's a waiting game on how, you know, how volatility works and when the right time to come in. Looking at the right time to come in here, if a continuation is expected, which I do see coming, but probably in the next few days following this pump here, because it just went up 25% and it just fell down, okay, from 13 back to 12. That's another 12%. So when it falls this much, okay, it seems like the algorithm is doing this now. You can kind of see the algorithm working here, staring its way down. When it does this, that is not doesn't look like a good sign here in the short term. But again, I see it coming back up in the next few days, so I think it might turn into a larger pattern, or maybe something like this, where it drags out for maybe until in the after-hour session, and then going into tomorrow, that might be an opportunity. But right now, when volatility pumps like that, I let the stock ride, man. Let it do its thing before before looking at options. Okay, let's look at spots. All right, guys, if you do have spots, try now about 80. There's currently 80 users that have spots. You can check out the Discord, and on the info tab, you just click on the what am I talking about? You go on the Discord, on the info section. There's a link to this. I just updated spots, so if you currently have it, this is a new version of it. It has. So now we have a little table down here, and the cool thing about it, it's a good way to do analysis, but it tells you the current value since the last pink or blue spots. The current value is negative 59% from the spot, right? And the all-time low from the pink spot is negative 62%. So that's a nice little table to have here, especially if you're doing like intraday stuff. And then apart from that, now I have filled in some of these sections so that you can visually see where the price is, how the price behaves once you do have a clear cross here. So for example, a blue spot here, you have a nice little section here that lasts about a month before it starts falling down. And visually, that's just a good way to see, you know, historically how the price has done something similar. So like back here in August, it's just visually more appealing in my opinion. So that's the updated chart. If you do have this, all you got to do is, if you already have the chart indicator, you just load it back on your screen and you should have this version. I just updated it yesterday. So check that out, guys. Fun stuff. It's the minute, 5 minute. It's pretty good. Right now, the hourly is the most accurate one. Okay, from the pink spot, it comes down negative 68%, and then right now, blue spot, we have from the blue spot, right? That's where it tracks it. The high is 13 because it's taking the average of the high, not the absolute. It's the EMA high, but you can change the source too. If you change the source, it's going to give you different values, but I have it set to the EMA, which is going to be an average. All right, let's take a look at SPY. SPY is now coming back up. We have certain patterns we're tracking that we're calling for upside. I'm going to show you guys a few, but here is one that we were, okay, shifted here a little bit. You guys won't believe this, but this pattern right here, this little section, I actually found intraday on SPY. 8/21, 2023. Sometimes I feel like the algorithm is just communicating intraday with other algorithms, and they're like, yo, this day, man, we're going to do this for the macro chart. I saw this formation, and I knew going into it, man, right now, the market is making that first. So following this arc formation, you have a POI here. It's starting to climb back up, and it's going to create that second loop here. So that this is a classic inclined M-shaped pattern is what we call it on the Discord. And then it rides here on the way up. So we're still bullish on the market. I'm going to pull up this little section, man, just to show you guys how the fuck you find these. You go back. So again, 8/21, 2023. 8/21 is right here. You go on the minute chart. This is the market here. Now, do you guys see? I did it on the 15-second. Let's see if it, yep, it gave us those values, and here it is. Same pattern. Replay. You go back on the daily. And now you have yourself a match. Boom. Getting very close. Spots, indicators getting very close to crossing on a short pink curve. That's very bullish. If this crosses through, I would see a full cross. Right, full cross, and then trade sideways, maybe bounces back down on the curve here before it starts climbing back up. And markets might make their high this year. Going into it here, September time, 466, climbing back down, and then all the way back up to create new highs before the end of the year. That would be ideal. That would be ideal. Man, look at this. You know, one thing that part of the reason why I added the shaded areas is because it just gives a better perspective. These are both crashes in the market, guys. Both of these are these are actually crashes, like where the market fucking crashed. And people like to compare this to a crash, man. And I'm like, bro, that is not a crash. This thing fully reversed back up, and it's probably going to keep going up. Just said, psych. This right here is like everything else you're seeing in these smaller areas. Right here, right here. Okay, it's just a bigger version of that. But all of these end up coming back up. The markets want to keep going back up. And then this is the thing. You're gonna get the chart do something like this. At this point, maybe if the markets do crash, then you'll see your pink area right here. You take your highlighter, you make it pink. just like these other two. Something like that. I mean, yeah, something like this, man. You got your little pink curve. I think that would make a lot more sense is if the pink area is somewhere up here. Kind of like if we were tracking the like 70s maybe, where inflation was just kicking in, like 1974. We have that video I talked about the correlation between Bitcoin and gold as a commodity. And now we have Bitcoin doing its thing, looks very similar, has a similar market cap to gold in the 70s. So you got to look at all those things too. There is a high correlation to the 70s right now. You know, technology, guys, information, technological advancements, right? You know, that's a thing right now with AI. So revolutionary stuff happening here, which means if you compare the 1970s to it, everything like just was crazy in the 80s, and then you had a market dump. You had a market rally first, and then a dump. It is here. It is the market 1970s, 80s. So here's the rally. And then here is the dump. But even the dump, it happened so quickly, and then like a year later, it just came back. Really, 1929 was the worst. Ever. $1987. What if we were like right here? Like right here, dude. What if this was like the chart right now, where it goes up and then it just climbs back down, trades sideways for a few years, and then it just rallies, goes up, and then we have a little crash right here. Monthly, man. Fuck. But like you kind of look at this too, and like it doesn't even look that bad because it like on the blue curve it comes down, doesn't even go into a pink area, and then it rides back up again. So similar to this. This was a flush though. It happened so quickly. I don't know, man. Bro, we've already had two crashes. Like why are we anticipating another crash? Like we're like 2002 and then 2008. Like why another crash? Like man, the market shouldn't be crashing every 10 years. That's not how it should be. It should be like you don't crash for decades, like 5 decades. 1970 market dumps, 1974 market dumps, and then it doesn't dump until 87. Very quickly, the market starts to rally like crazy. And this was around the same time that gold started doing its thing. And like I'm telling you, man, Bitcoin right now is nothing compared to what $15 trillion market cap on gold right now. Bitcoin is sitting at half a trillion, like 500 billion around. A little bit less than that. Gold peaked at a $1.2 trillion market cap in the 70s when it came into the U.S. markets. Bitcoin did that in 2021. 1.2 trillion if you take in, inflation into account. Crazy stuff. $19.74 comes down. I already have this on Bitcoin too. Like, I'm pretty sure it's here somewhere. Where is it? It's not that one. It's on the crypto chart, but it shows the same thing. It's like basically saying that we're here. 1974, 1.2 trillion, guys, right here. $1.2 trillion market cap. $1.2 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. That's why, man. And then it just fucking rallies like crazy. Look at that. Even the pattern looks the fucking same. And if Bitcoin went to 280,000, that would be a 1.2 is right here, 1.2 trillion. This would be 2.5. So this would be about a $5 trillion market cap, which again, it does not compare to the value of gold today. Gold is at 15 trillion. That'd be very little, like very tiny, man. But if all the banks and everybody's jumping in on crypto, this is very realistic for Bitcoin. I mean, it really is. It's just a matter of how fast it happens. Here's something to think about too. With gold, you guys know we've been tracking this AMC pattern on gold for a little while, which it's basically calling for downside like soon. I'm going to apply one indicator here, the changes indicator, just to show you guys a few things. So this is on the monthly chart, and it's currently sitting at, so here, You can see it's like riding resistance. It hasn't broken above or below it. On the daily chart, it might show different values. Yeah, it's going to show completely different values. You want to look at the entire chart here, but it you know, this thing was winning back in the 70s. That's where gold, you know, was really doing its thing. It happened very quickly. Jesus, you can't, like, 400, 500. Yeah. Whoa. Look, bro, this indicator just amazes me sometimes, dude. So it gets rejected off of this resistance level. One here, down, and then here it's getting rejected. Now, a cross, though. A cross here, imagine, from 2013 levels, like if you're looking at a wedge or a pennant, whatever, crossing down here, going up, it kind of makes sense that the pattern that I pulled up here happens if we get a full cross and Bitcoin starts to rally. And guys, this is good, by the way, for the entire market. If crypto rallies, you're going to like, this is a revolutionary stage in the markets. That means like the entire market rallies, not just Bitcoin. If it actually goes to, you know, the $200,000 range. That's like all crypto booming. And that's the market booming, especially the beat up stocks. It's just a projector, massive projector pattern on this. See, projector pattern on Bitcoin. Obviously, this is calling for way more upside, but at least it hits the same target, right? At 235 being that first target, I would call that basically an exit there for that. But the way the events line up here on this pattern as well from AMC. All right, enough Bitcoin. No, but that's the goal, guys. I mean, I you know, if I'm not looking at AMC, like one of the things I focus on a lot in the markets is the crypto market. Crypto market is huge, and I think it has a lot of potential aside from AMC and all these other plays in the market. Yeah, I would love. I honestly, I would love to hear from Adam Aaron. I would want to see what the guy has to say about the price action and what it did recently. I think he owes the shareholder a response. I do. Again, stocks will do what they do, man. And the market is scary sometimes. It is. But it doesn't. It people and you know, administrations do have and do play a role in sometimes the way the price behaves based on the decisions they make. I mean, like some of this be like partially being the reverse split and well the ape thing in the first place. I mean that caught a lot of people by surprise, including me. Like, I mean, I think from there the stock just started to behave in ways that nobody want. You know, I personally did not like the whole ape thing happening from the start. I think from there, especially the tracking here in the cycle and everything we saw, I mean, it's like this: you have another half trading somewhere else, doing its own thing. It's not good for looking at the cycle and really just tracking the price the way that we used to. Because before things were very accurate, and now one of the reasons why I'm excited for the next few months is because at least we're tracking one stock now. We're not dealing with anything else. So I think it's gonna make it a lot easier, but things have to happen the right way, man. So yeah, I want to hear what Adam Aaron has to say. Hopefully he says something in the next few days. All right, price is starting to climb back up. We'll see if it does finish through and cross here. See if we can find some patterns here. But do you guys kind of, you know what I'm saying when, like, for barcoding, the price likes to stay between a range, like the bid and ask is very tight. With a lower float stock, there's a higher spread, meaning the price can move up and down extremely quickly. I mean, look at this. It went from 12.50 to almost 13 in a matter of 2 minutes. That you don't see happening. And right now we're starting to see a pretty large push here. Like, this is what I like, man. Like, this is what stocks should behave like. They shouldn't barcode. They shouldn't stay in a range for 3 hours just flat. Look, man, I don't have a price target following what happened here. I'll show you guys, and I'm pretty transparent about this, but this is the projection I had for AMC, and it's clearly, well, the chart is shifted now, so it's not going to show the thing, but I had AMC following a well, what I would have called the M-shaped pattern, a continuation to the upside if this was a if the bottom was officially in and this was a POI starting to ride the wave up, put pressure on the shorts to then go up to what would be the $28 range. And if you look at the chart now, that level is all the way up to like the 226, right? That, under the right circumstances, that would have, a few things needed to happen for that projection to be at play, right? So being that we had, well, the reverse split went through, and that is like something that nobody, or at least a lot of people were hopeful that that wasn't going to happen following this rally we had, right? 10 minutes, we go up 100%. Because reverse splits, they're not bullish. And we already saw that happening post reverse split. There, he says it very clearly on the term sheet, like, oh, like many fear that, reverse splits are, dilute the stock, but like, and it's just a lack of transparency for that. It's that they don't go and talk to you about like why reverse splits are in fact short term, midterm, depending on the stock, bearish, because it gives the incentive again to the shorts prior, pre-split, and post-split, depending on where the price goes. Like if you're gonna take a stock from, it wasn't even trading like at crazy levels, like it was trading at the $5 range, man. Like it went to 8.2. It's not like it was at $1. But after you announce that, well, now you put it in people's head. Now shorts pile back in because they're doing a reverse split. Let's try and get it down to extremely low levels so that by the time it does split, the stock doesn't, end up like it start off and trading at $40 or above, above those levels. So they did that on purpose. I think they shorted the stock prior to it and then post split on purpose to make it seem like nothing really happened with that number, that psychological number. But in fact, they diluted the shareholder, and that's the part that sucks here. It's like he doing a reverse split, you're not diluting anything, but the shorts, that's the issue. It's the shorts that come in. They basically dilute you because they take the opportunity to do that. $150 million is a very small float, in my opinion, for a stock. I mean, you take a look at some of these other stocks that have a higher float, like let's take a look at a few here. So I'll give you guys an example. AMC's trading in the $10 range. We have Nikola sitting at about 1 billion shares outstanding. The stock is worth, right now, the market cap is about $1 billion as well. So they pretty much have it's 1-to-1 with it trading at $1.20 right now, $1.27. So, and Nikola, what it had done recently, it's not that the stock can't move, it just takes more volume for the stock to move because the float is, and you do have to calculate the price too, right? You can't just, if the stock had $150 million or 150 million shares outstanding and it was trading at $1, my God, that would, I don't even know what would happen at that point. I mean, it would go up very quickly. It would, but it's trading at $10, so it's not the same. It makes it a little bit harder to do that but regardless of that, it still has a lower float. But yeah, so you do have to think about, like, if they are gonna add shares, which is likely. I mean, it is likely that they will because it's a lower market cap. Doing an offering is not bullish either. I mean, you're diluting your shareholders even more at that point. So that is the part that you do have to kind of watch out for and see, like, how that's going to affect the price, either in the short term or in the long term. Because if the price if we're not diluting, or if the stock does not have an offering in the short term, and it starts to rally, typically administrations take that as an opportunity to do an offering because, well, the price now is starting to come back up, and if it goes up a certain amount of if it goes up 10x or something, I don't know if they would do it at that point, but if it did and they do an offering, well, obviously that's going to tank the stock. It's going to make it go back down because it's not bullish. But because you do have a lower float and you do have only 150 shares outstanding, you do have to think about the possibilities here of something like that happening because it is a low float, guys. It is a low. That's not allowed a lot of shares. That's not. So GME is trading at $18 and it has a 300 million. It has 300 million shares outstanding, but its market cap is 5 billion. So the market cap is just a little bit different than AMC's, about twice, almost 3 times as much actually, 3 times as much because the shares outstanding are also higher. So it has twice the amount of shares outstanding. So I actually don't have a problem with GME's. I think the shares outstanding for GME are pretty decent for the stock, for it to move and behave like the average stock. But you don't want to over dilute the stock where it's trading in the billions, because then at that point you do come into that, like Nikola again, trading in the billion, 1 billion. And look at this thing. That is 1 billion for you guys at $1. It's just barcoding. Barcoding. That's not fun. That is not fun at all. Okay, GME breaks out a little bit. It kind of does its thing. It's not barcoding. AMC's float right now is 158 million. So that's why it's moving the way it is, guys. That's why it is moving quick. Options are behaving pretty normal with volatility. Like this is fun. Like this is fun stuff, but can only do this if it remains around that same level. If you do anything above, again, like that 300 million, similar to GME, it becomes harder. It becomes harder to move the stock up and down. It requires more volume. In the short term, if AMC corrected itself and came up going into the POI in October. One thing I would track, and price-wise, just using technicals, very basic technicals, is AMC has been rejecting the pink spot curve here every single time. Has not crossed once for the last almost year, ever since the ape thing right here. It has been rejecting this, but every time it comes down, it does also respect a little parallel channel, which is currently what we're in. So one of the things I keep talking about here, technical wise, we have the ROC indicator calling absolute bottom, never seen lows before here. And I changed this to 10 now. So even at 10, it was at 50 before, it's still showing the same thing. And then technicals, parallel channel, you're at the bottom. This chart doesn't show it, but TD Ameritrade shows a bottom for AMC because it went from 800 to 10, and previously on that $800 high, the low was 20. So it's at about half. Like if you were looking at it, trying to convert the chart from 77 to what the price would be now, it would be somewhere around 80 cents. It's crazy to think about, but yeah, like just looking at it from that point of view is very, very much different from looking at AMC's price now and looking at it at the $12 range. You have to look at it as if the stock had never done a split, it had never done the ape conversion. Look at it in terms of, like, if you had the stock from 2020 and you rode it all the way up and then it came all the way down, looking at that value is, I think, sometimes more important than looking at the converted price. That's why this indicator, guys, will show that. The changes indicator shows that because it just kind of says fuck you to the chart. I don't care if you're shifting it or making it your own, showing different values, whatever. This is going to show you the percentage change over a set period of time and the velocity of that. And you're not going to get that with a traditional chart because they just constantly shift it to try and mess with your perspective on the stock, in my opinion. I think that's what they're doing. But a bounce here coming up to the curve again. If it gets rejected there, we're looking at about the $50 level, which is it's a pretty big move. That's a 500% move almost. From 10, if it went from 10 to 50, it's 400%, so that's 5x. And volatility, including volatility, would be about a 500% move. Which is October POI. Right there, October POI. Yeah, mRNA is going right now. It's getting a little bit of traction, but I am keeping my thing here with the projection on that. Sure, it can climb up very quickly and very fast. You can see that right here, but it is still calling for a little bit of downside. There are some gaps, which is completely normal, so you can see this thing climb back up. But going into it, really, the POI that is calling for like a major move here to 175 doesn't happen till about mid-September time. So not that it can't happen right away and quickly, but yeah, for anything like short-term wise, I'm waiting for a little step thing. But this has been the best play, I think, so far right now on the Discord from the projection side of things that we have tracked, because it's been tracking for a year, man, and it's like that is got the algorithm just loves this pattern right here, dude. Freaking tracked it for an entire year. Actually, Volt is pretty good at, yeah. This is the other indicator, guys. Volt, awesome volatility indicator. I use this one with spots and changes. These are the trio, man, of spotting reversals in the market is all I use. 50. Look at that. Riding the wave up right here. Boom. High starts coming down. This one is amazing for crypto. Crypto, for specifically because the crypto market is not like options where these guys are just dragging on and they'll do whatever they want in between before the expiration date, as long as the strike falls below or above, depending on calls or puts. The crypto market is just liquidity, margin, and liquidations. So that's why this indicator works so well, because it's there's so much volatility in the market. You just see constant liquidations. And this indicator, man, does a really good job. No, IOTA. Is that IOTA is on Binance? I mean, the entire crypto market right now is just beat to the ground. This looks exactly like freaking Lucid. Look at that Lucid chart, man. Why does it look exactly like Lucid? So it's a cup or a failed cup pattern with a little bit of distribution going on down here. I mean, this doesn't mean, man, the price is going to go down. It's just one of those things that I always track. Whenever I see a pattern, I try and get as many reference patterns as I can find that, apart from the analysis that you do that doesn't involve patterns and indicators and stuff, this is just the end. One of the things I do at the end is I just look at patterns just to try and see if my analysis is correct or not, or it looks to be more correct or not. But to be honest, man, I wouldn't be able to tell you much about it because I'm not super. Just based on the chart, again, this thing fell from $2 to 15 cents. So, like most cryptos that are doing this, a lot of them have done this already. One that did, it initially looked like, and this would be a bullish one, but it did look like Lucid at first, and then it started to do its own thing, was Litecoin. So if anything, you can take that one as well and use this one instead. See how this one calls for upside? Well, it might. Yeah, the thing is, this one doesn't have enough data. But they are definitely doing something similar. And it starts to like stray away. That's why I don't like fully, track some. The pattern has to be very close. It has to have a high correlation, like Moderna, like mRNA. It has to have a really high correlation. And these have a high correlation with a lot of the values, but there's still a lot of gaps. So I wouldn't put too much into it. Now, one thing I will say about this down here, this current chart, is that it is testing a triple bottom setup here, which is normally what this means is that on that fourth one, it happens with a lot of stocks, but on that fourth one, if it does break below, how low it goes, that is a thing I would watch out for here. An example is Ape. Okay, Ape just did it recently. 1, 2, 3, breaks below it, and it hasn't done anything now. Now it's starting to show signs of a reversal here, but to me, it looks like if it is going to have one more rally here on that third one, I wouldn't trust it so much, because even on the macro chart here, you can kind of see it's on that third one, and that third one breaks below. So it's in a risky spot still. I think for the crypto market in general, you kind of want to see a sign that there's a reversal coming first, and then that reversal, even that reversal, normally gets rejected before you see a major move, and that's what we call a projector pattern here. So, like XRP, following the XRP news and the court stuff, even that, it was a pump and dump. So, and this thing has been riding for a while, but it's just a series of pump and dumps, which is exactly what you want to see before a major push to the upside. That is what you want to see. But in the crypto market, there is rarely such thing as a massive rally that holds unless the entire crypto market is in a bullish trajectory, which is not right now at this current moment. We're still in a phase where the markets haven't decided if they're gonna keep going or not. But that's the first step, man. The first step is getting there, establishing the support, and then going back up. So if anything, tracking right now like XRP, XLM, these guys, they're all showing what is a parabolic arc setup, all of them. And it's at that level now, but obviously if you cross below a parabolic arc, you're going to see more downside, and it's not going to be pretty. So major levels to track right now on not only, you know, these other shorted cryptos, but XRP. All right, guys. Gonna leave it there for the stream today. I will come back and stream sometime this week, post a video, some updates here. Now that we get when we get a little bit more information on the chart, but going into the after-hour session, guys, like I said, this to me looks like just a small volatility crush. Trying to get some premiums for these contracts, and then maybe going into tomorrow, if the price still holds and remains, like once we get a better setup of the chart, it's going to be a little bit better to tell where the price is going to go next year. But I would watch for the 1230 level. If it breaks below that, a clear break below that, then it's going to look more like it's trying to create a double bottom setup before it actually climbs back up going into the middle of September time. But other than that, man, we're going to see a continuation here, and it's going to be fast. So we'll update that, man. I'll see you guys on the next stream. And make sure you guys subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell, man, so you guys know when I go live, all right?